Today, April 29th, 2022, marks the 30th anniversary of the LA riots. If you're unfamiliar with the LA riots of 1992, essentially 31 years ago, a defenseless black man by the name of Rodney King was almost beaten to death by 4 police officers. Back then, there were no cell phones with video cameras that everyone carried around in their pockets, so police brutality basically went unchecked. I mean, essentially, if you make a claim, it's a cop's word versus yours. But this time, someone happened to be at the right place at the right time and was able to videotape the injustice. Well, fast forward a year, and all 4 of the cops were acquitted and found not guilty. And people were upset. And just as we saw the other year with George Floyd's injustice, people took their pain and anger to the streets. And a lot of this happened in Koreatown, where obviously there were a lot of Korean businesses. Yes, it's true. Korean-owned businesses suffered greatly during the LA riots. And it's also true that the black community was in extreme pain. However, the media really started to tell this story and then started hyper-focusing on the dynamic between the black and the Korean community in LA, making the very superficial observation that the black community is in pain and Asian businesses are the ones taking the brunt of the attacks, and stating that there was a conflict between the two. What could the media be trying to distract from? Oh yeah, the fact that a black man was almost beaten to death by cops who look like this. Which brings me to the So family, and the reason why I've been absent from TikTok from the last 2 weeks, but I'll get to that in a second. This is Hong Ho and Kyung Ho. They've owned and ran SNH Liquor in Inglewood for almost 40 years. This photo was taken inside of SNH Liquor, and it was burned to the ground during the riots. Hong Ho actually had a great job working on ships, a job that actually took him around the world. However, that became a problem when they started having a family. So he quit his job, took his severance money, and used it to open up this shop. When the shop burned down, they were devastated. It was their only source of income to feed his family. And while the media was overpainting this idea of the conflict between blacks and Korean Americans, but in real life stories like Hong Ho's, it was actually the black community, the community in Inglewood that came and rallied around and helped support them. So to commemorate the 30th anniversary of the LA riots, the So family decided to honor the 2 communities coming together to rebuild. So they had 2 Korean American artists, Annie Hong and Julia Chan, also known as Hootenanny and Kimchi Juice, paint this mural on the side of their building over the last 2 weeks, which is where I've been filming every day. This mural features Hong-ok, Kyung-ok, and one of their store associates, Ray, who's been with them for decades, featured on this wall with this important message. There was even a press conference for the unveiling of the wall this morning where the LA County Supervisor Holly Mitchell, as well as the first black Korean senator, Marilyn Strickland, also came down from Washington to commemorate the wall. Stronger together.